In this dramatic, fictionalized retelling, the view begins like any other episode. Bright lights, warm chatter, and a familiar rhythm. But beneath the surface, there is an unspoken tension waiting to break loose. When the conversation turns toward a controversial Department of Justice announcement, everything shifts. What starts as routine commentary transforms into a moment that shakes the studio, the network, and the nation within the story's world. At the center of it all is Whoopi Goldberg, whose unexpected remarks set off a chain reaction far bigger than anyone prepared for. This narrative explores how one bold statement spirals into a media frenzy, a corporate crisis, and a public reckoning about truth, power, and the costs of speaking out in a tightly controlled media environment. The on-air moment that sparked the firestorm. In the story, the panel begins discussing widespread public frustration over the DOJ's statement claiming there is no Epstein client list to release. This sets a tense tone as speculation and skepticism swirl around the topic. Then the narrative zooms in on Whoopi Goldberg, who cuts through the conversation with a sharp comment that instantly changes the room's energy. Her words, direct, emotional, and unscripted, send the studio into stunned silence. The fictional moment is depicted as raw and electric, the kind of unexpected truth-telling that daytime television rarely sees. The abrupt commercial break deepens the sense of shock, framing the moment as something that crossed institutional boundaries. It becomes the spark that ignites the story's central conflict, thrusting Whoopi into the eye of a storm that grows far beyond the show's stage. Behind the scenes, shockwaves. Once the cameras cut away, the narrative shifts backstage where chaos takes over. Producers are described as scrambling, audio engineers suddenly hearing frantic voices in their earpieces, and executives rushing into the control room. The scene highlights the contrast between polished on-air calm and the panic that erupts when something unscripted breaks through the usual structure. Anonymous crew members in the story describe shock and confusion, revealing how fragile the harmony of a live broadcast really is. This section emphasizes the high stakes of modern television, how one unexpected line can send a network into crisis mode. It reinforces the theme of controlled environments suddenly disrupted by truth spoken without filters. In this fictional world, Whoopi's words become a detonator, setting off alarms that reverberate through hallways, offices, and eventually, national headlines. The media frenzy and divided public reaction. Once the clip spreads online, the narrative shows the moment exploding across social platforms. Hashtags trend within minutes, news networks replay the footage, and commentators on all sides jump into the discourse. Supporters praise her courage, framing her as someone finally speaking uncomfortable truths, while critics accuse her of recklessness. The fictional controversy reveals the polarized media climate, where public figures rarely get the luxury of nuance. ABC's silence only intensifies speculation, leaving viewers to fill in the blanks with their own fears or hopes. This section illustrates how quickly modern media magnifies conflict, turning a single comment into a national spectacle. It also underscores the emotional charge surrounding topics of power, secrecy, and institutional trust. In this fictional world, the moment becomes more than a TV incident. It becomes a cultural flashpoint. Growing tensions and a deepening divide among co-hosts. Inside the show's world, the narrative reveals a widening divide among the panelists. Some stand behind Whoopi's boldness, while others express concern about the escalating fallout. Private conversations, overheard frustrations, and cautious distance create a palpable discomfort on set. Longtime alliances appear strained, and even the friendliest dynamic begins to fracture under the weight of controversy. The fictional tension reflects how public pressure can seep into private relationships, especially for colleagues who must navigate their own reputations while sharing a table. This section humanizes the cast, showing their fears, loyalties, and vulnerabilities. It paints the studio as a workplace caught in emotional crossfire, where everyone feels the consequences of one moment, even those who didn't utter a single word. The leaked memo and the network's quiet alarm. The story takes a dramatic turn when a leaked memo begins circulating online, allegedly written by a senior ABC executive. Though framed as fictional, this document heightens the stakes, suggesting that the network views Whoopi as a rising liability. The memo's vague wording and lack of public denial deepen the mystery, hinting that something serious may be unfolding behind closed doors. This section explores how large corporations often respond to controversy, with silence, strategic ambiguity, and internal monitoring. It also highlights how leaks, whether real or rumored, shape public perception. The fictional memo becomes symbolic of the tension between outspoken voices and institutions seeking control. It reinforces the sense of secrecy and raises questions about who truly decides what can and cannot be said on national television. Advertiser withdrawal and corporate fear. In this part of the narrative, the situation becomes financially serious. Advertisers, lifelines for any television program, allegedly begin pulling or postponing their sponsorships due to the escalating controversy. The network's leadership reportedly scrambles, fearing the financial repercussions more than the public outrage. Meetings with legal teams and nervous executives reveal the complex balance between creative freedom and corporate risk. This section underscores a powerful theme. In the world of television, influence and money often shape decisions more than principle or truth. The fictional portrayal of advertisers withdrawing illustrates how economic pressure can threaten not just individuals, but entire programs. It adds another layer to the story's drama, demonstrating the ripple effect of one moment that challenges institutional norms. A national debate and new voices. Joining in the drama grows as supporters, critics, survivors, activists, and even politicians begin weighing in. Social media becomes a battleground of passionate opinions, while celebrities take sides. Some see Whoopi as brave for speaking out, while others criticize her for stirring conspiracy-like claims. In this section, the narrative widens to show how deeply topics of accountability and transparency resonate with the public. Voices of survivors add emotional weight, reminding audiences why these conversations matter. The fictionalized national conversation becomes less about Whoopi herself and more about the systems people feel have failed them. It captures a cultural moment where frustration, hope, anger, and courage collide, and where a television host becomes a symbol for something larger than entertainment. A second leak and rising institutional pressure. The story intensifies when a second whistleblower emerges, this time from another network, claiming past efforts to suppress discussions related to Epstein and powerful public figures. This fictional edition expands the narrative beyond ABC, depicting a broader culture of media self-protection. The mysterious documents, supposedly backed by digital confirmation, paint a picture of systemic silence. Here, Whoopi becomes more than a co-host. She is reimagined as a catalyst exposing deeper tensions between truth-telling and institutional fear. This section adds suspense, suggesting that the controversy touches powerful circles. It creates a sense of escalating stakes, where speaking out carries potential consequences for people across the entire media industry. ABC's Turning Point and Whoopi's stand under mounting public pressure, petitions, and vocal support. The network in the story must choose a side. In a surprising twist, ABC issues a public statement framed as supportive of open dialogue and confirms Whoopi will remain on the show. The moment feels like a symbolic victory, both for her and for viewers who rallied in her defense. Her on-air statement, calm yet fierce, reaffirms her commitment to asking hard questions, even at personal risk. This section highlights resilience and the power of public solidarity. It portrays a moment where a corporation, challenged from all sides, ultimately acknowledges the value of uncomfortable truth in a world that often prefers silence. It wraps the narrative arc into a moment of triumph within a larger, ongoing struggle. A movement more powerful than one episode. The final section reflects on how the fictional scandal transforms into something larger than television. What began as a tense moment on a talk show evolves into a broader reckoning about transparency, responsibility, and courage. Whoopi becomes symbolic, a figure standing at the crossroads of public frustration and institutional caution. The story ends by emphasizing how one unscripted moment can shine a light on deeper societal tensions and encourage people to question what remains hidden behind closed doors. It leaves readers with a sense that truth, once spoken aloud, resonates far beyond its origin. It becomes a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected voices spark the biggest conversations.